Jamal Bryant is a demon. You notice in his pulpit, the communist fist grabbing the cross. How much more subversive can you get than that?
A pastor, a wolf in sheep's clothing, called Jamal Bryant. He's a false prophet and he needs to be called out. You are more concerned with the color of people's skin. You are more loyal to your tribe and your race and your ethnicity than you are to the people of God. That's ethnic idolatry. And you know what I didn't like at all? The fact that he called it black churches. Black churches? Like, what is that?
Researching for this particular episode, I came across a lot of things, and particularly in the language. I'm gonna play this clip from Jamal Bryant, and then I want you guys to listen to the language, that he's using.
I'm concerned about all of these Negro preachers who've been, in fact, talking about that this man that was killed was the answer to Christ in the earth. Y'all ain't saying that. They having moments of silence in black churches all over the country over a man that was racist and a white supremacist.
You notice he used two words: Negroes,
yeah.
And then black churches. So the communists like to play with language. Did you know there's a difference between the Negroes and the blacks?
I'm not familiar if there's a deeper distinction.
What do you mean?
I'm familiar with the distinction between coloreds and black, but not.
No, come on. He is
Gimpy, go ahead.
making a delineation between acceptable black people and unacceptable black people. And he's using a derogatory term that if a white person used it, you'd get all huffy and uptight about. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just saying you would. But he's using it to cast aspersion on people he disagrees with politically, specifically black pastors, black ministers who are using their time in church to pay respect to a man who they felt might have been a good conservative and representation of good Christian. He is making a line in the sand called unhumaning them, which is a communist tactic. I'm sure that's why we're talking about this, in order so that black people can create an enemy from their own. Dude, this is a standard tact that they use. It's called unhumaning. That's why they use the language so divided and then say, we're not the divisive ones, you're the divisive ones.
When I heard this, there's a Negro preacher, and then and to me, it seems like he's trying to claim those people. Black people are my people. Negro preachers are leading them astray. CT, did you know there's a difference?
No, I didn't.
All right, guys, so when I was researching this, guys, this right here literally blew my mind.
What is the black church? It is imperative to understand what is meant by black church. Examine the historical development of the black church to be sure to distinguish it from the Negro Church, an institution with which the black church is sometimes conflated. The Negro Church, as conceived by Woodson, have become a divisive institution responsible for splitting the black community into conservatives who embrace the old-time religion and style and doctrine, and progressives who wanted both religion and education and a more modern style of worship and theology. Despite Woodson's criticism, like Du Bois, both of these individuals found virtue in the Negro Church and promoted the Reformation rather than its dissolution, hence seeking the good and the value, which will later be seen once we get to the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s.
Reminds me of the old Nicole Hannah-Jones tweet where she said, and I quote, "There is a difference between being politically black and being racially black." Again, it's drawing that whole the friend enemy distinctions, is forcing the friend enemy distinctions on everyone else. It's no different than when Roland Martin or some of these other guys is out here calling people Uncle Toms and coons and all this other foolishness. There's no difference. It's the same exact tactic. It's basically those of us who don't want to be communists, those of us who it's the subsumed, the subverted, and those who are not.
Yes, there might be an issue specifically in the black church with communism, but there's an issue in America with communism. And the black church is just one tentacle, a symptom, whatever you want to use. I'm not minimizing it. There's a broad spectrum attack on our way of life in this country.
But here's the thing, Gippy. Here's the thing, right? Yeah, I agree with you that every institution is being corrupted. But when you talk about the corruption or the subversion of communism, it was done through the black community, at least from my record, what I've seen in history. The 100%. Communists leveraged the wedge of the racial issues. They harped on the point of, just the issue of race, and they use that as an avenue to now subvert the Black church, which is now infiltrated into other areas of American life. And this is why I do believe if we want to truly save America, Black people have to adopt the country.
Good luck.
Christian nationalism, or whatever you want to call it. You have to go back to a foundation of faith, family, and freedom instead of race.
Go ahead, Reason. Please, I apologize. I've just been quiet and listening. Maybe my issue is the fact of who it is. Okay. Maybe it's just that I have an issue personally with Jamal Bryant. Maybe that's the problem. The guy was here in Baltimore. Okay. The guy is sitting here talking about the Negro Church as opposed to, just the Black church. The thing I despise the most, okay, about us culturally when it comes to the church, one is the people who have the authority, and then those people who are doing whatever they are doing to make the people who are underneath them follow them blindly and stupidly.
Yes.
And two, the people who are stupid enough to believe this. Okay. I mean, this is mind blowing to me. There are 80% of the people in the Black church are women. And we listen to Jamal Bryant and we sit here and go, what Logic just said. We have to be more foundational. What in the world would make the Black culture a little more foundational? Excuse me. How about family? Yet we have a guy here who can't keep his dick in his pants and went through half of the women in Baltimore probably, which got him kicked out. Okay.
Yep.
Then he's going down here into Georgia, and he's sitting here like, yo, the problem that I really have the most when it comes to the Black church and why I give bling thumbs up, Catholicism, a hand clap to an extent, the Muslim culture, a hand clap, is because in their religion is order. Okay. There is order in their religion. You know why they won't put order in the Black church? You know why they say, God damn it, we're not going to put the patriarchy back into the Black church or the Christian church in general, which, by the way, would bring men back to the church, is because the women are paying the bills.
Jamal Bryant is a demon, which is why he took over a demon's church. Remember, he is the successor to Bishop Eddie Long. Mm-hmm. That was Bishop Eddie Long's church that Jamal Bryant's at. So of course, one degenerate covers for another. Okay, I mean that's basically what it is when it comes to that. And Jamal Bryant is, I mean, even like everything about Jamal Bryant, if you notice in his pulpit, okay, the communist fist grabbing the cross.
Yeah.
Like how much more subversive can you get than that? I mean, you're literally saying that communism will destroy the church and y'all niggas is gonna help us do it. That's essentially what that is. And I share reasons discussed with Jamal Bryant. I've been discussing with him for years.
And again, I defined the differences earlier between the Negro Church and the Black Church. 7 years after Frazier published his scathing indictment of the Negro Church, C. Eric Lincoln wrote, I quote, "The Negro Church that Frazier wrote about no longer exists. It died an agonizing death." He went on to claim that with the sadness and reluctance and the trepidation and the confidence, the Negro Church accepted death in order to be reborn. And it's interesting because James Cone, the author of Black Liberation Theology, noticed that since for something to really manifest and to grow, much like the resurrection of Christ, it must die and be reborn in different ways.
Anybody ever heard of Black Liberation Theology?
Yes, I have.
That was Jeremiah Wright. Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, it's the subversion.
Yep.
At the birth of the Black church in the mid-20th century, which is important. So now we're talking about the Black church being born in the mid-20th century, hence the idea of the civil rights movement. He links the idea that this is the difference from the Black church and the Negro church. And that is the Black church is now going to take on a new perspective in being a savior of a race of people who need an institution to fight against the problems and the challenges of white supremacy that were in place. The socialist progressive stance of Nat Turner, Richard Allen, Henry McNeil Turner, was notwithstanding, Lincoln argued that, quote, "The Negro Church although the church traditionally courted such a conservative image as to have seldom been considered a threat to prevailing social values. This self-realization, coupled with a renewed sense of purpose and power, fueled the
Can I just point out, this guy's Bibble Babble proves CT's point. Church,
Yeah,
the black church was always corrupt. There was never a time the black church, the way you frame the question, and he's using the same framing technique, technology, and meaning as you were, there was never a time. So that means CT was correct, that it has never been conservative. It has never been. It has always been poison. And there has never been a time. I mean, just based on this guy, what you're trying to educate us with, it's demonstrating that the whole institution's whole purpose is to subvert the blacks' role in America.
Therefore, the phrase the black church, as used from this point forward, will refer to the collective, largely denominational body of churches comprised primarily of African American people who, through communal worship, race consciousness, and civic engagement, operate as a locus of spiritual empowerment and social agency.
So I think the biggest thing that shocked me when I heard this was that even the term black church is from the communists.
My whole thing is didn't anyone ever notice ever in the history of the black church, and I'd air quote, but I don't even have that much respect for that phrase anymore, that God is never mentioned ever. Like, didn't anyone notice that being divine, righteous, like the words that you're supposed to hear come out of holy people's mouths, and the way you're supposed to talk and the nature in which you're supposed to present? I'm sorry, maybe I missed something in that whole thing, but you've shown me a whole bunch of different things about the church, and it's a political action group. It's not anything else.
When you really sit down and think and consider what exactly is it about communism that works? What is it that has caused a religion of something that has literally destroyed nearly 200 million lives in the past 150 years? What is it that would cause people, if you really sat down and thought about it, used your head, these commies would be thrown out of here in a rout? They know that communists know that you have to be dumbed down and indoctrinated from K through 12 in order to really get it, in order to accept it. They need you mentally ill. Think about it. They want think about all of the things that they introduce in schools, all of the things that are generative, that are generative themes. That's why drag queen story hour and everything is a thing in these schools. That's why you see these gigantic these drag queens giving sermons in Episcopal churches. Okay, and things like that. You know, they do it to induce mental illness. They do it to induce people asking questions. They do it to break down distinctions. And they know that if you can kill distinctions, if you can break down boundaries, if you can get everybody's minds and hearts jumbled up, and they mistake emotions with rational thought, got you.
So guys, I'm gonna give you my definition of communism. Yeah, of course you have the technical definitions of what it is, you know, but when you examine what do they believe, right? They're anti-faith, right? Religion is the opioid of the masses, I think is one of the quotes. So they're anti-faith, anti-God. You know, they're anti-family, right? So they want to raise your children away, just like I think it was Isaiah said, you have to be completely indoctrinated in order to accept this as a norm, right? So in order to do that, you have to raise the children away from the family unit. And of course, as you guys mentioned, you know, they're anti-property. And it's all about the community, it's all about shared, you know, but when you think about this, at least as a whole, right? If it's anti-God, anti-family, anti-property, right? And one of the 10 commandments wouldn't be thou shalt not steal if you didn't have rights to property. It's literally evil, the spirit of the anti-Christ. Exactly. To me, communism is the spirit of the anti-Christ, and the communists have effectively subverted the black church to preach hell.
Yes. 100%. 100%. 100%.
These black pastors now are preaching hell. And I want to give the clearest example of this. I want to show this. This came across my feed this week, and I thought whoever put together this video made it abundantly clear. A.R. Bernard invited Zoran Mamdani in this church. And whoever put this clip together is so brilliant because it is going to show you how literal hell has been invited into the church.
Mamdani, a Democratic socialist running for mayor.
As your mayor, I will see it as my responsibility.
We came here to remake this state in the image of our people.
The ones who are so often forgotten.
Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free
Palestine! Delivering universal child care.
Zoran Kwame Mamdani.
Most of all, I want a good and communal life to feel attainable for all.
We know that the lesson of Eve is understanding the value of sacrifice.
I want to return dignity and joy. Thank you so much.
Uh-oh, we've got some fans in here.
You know, I still believe the black community is key to saving America. But if we reject the religion of communism and return to faith, family, and freedom, it starts with appreciation, not indoctrination, gratitude, not grievance. We have to stop with the color gospel and get back to the cross. And ultimately, guys, we got to bring back Shane.